where have the workers gone? It's a question that politicians, economists, journalists all have been asking. Right now, the unemployment rate is low. People are quitting their jobs at record numbers. The time that it takes to fill an open position is the highest that it's been in decades. So what's really going on? Here are 4 reasons behind the labor shortage. The first reason, daycare. If you have younger kids, right now there's a shortage of daycare workers, and that's even if you can afford it, with costs rising across the board. Older kids were stuck at home during the beginning of the pandemic, learning remotely. Even now, some schools are adopting a hybrid model, which requires students to stay at home some of the time. If kids aren't in school, someone has to be at home looking after them. Inevitably, the burden of childcare falls more on women. In one survey, women cited as the second highest reason for not getting a job as having to take care of someone, a child or a parent. In the same survey, men cited it as nearly the last. The costs and complications of being a parent during a pandemic has led people to weigh the pros and cons of getting a job versus staying at home. For many, getting a job just isn't worth it. The next reason, immigration. So in the US, we've seen immigration rates plummet due to COVID restrictions and processing delays. And that's on the heels of a Trump administration that already significantly cut down on legal immigration. So, with fewer immigrants coming into the country, there are fewer immigrants able to enter the workforce. And in some industries, that's had a profound effect. Take agriculture. In the US, immigrants make up about 13% of the population, but 73% of the agriculture industry. Fewer immigrants, fewer workers. The next reason, benefits. Now, this is by far the most controversial of all the various reasons. There's a huge debate going on right now amongst politicians, economists, policymakers, all about what kind of an effect the various COVID government benefits have had on the workforce. Things like extended unemployment benefits, the stimulus checks, the child tax credits. Now, if you ask a business owner, they will say, yes, it's had a huge effect. We just can't compete with the government sending out checks, especially with low-wage workers. But on the other hand, many of those emergency benefits have already ended. The stimulus checks were one-offs. They've already been spent by people. The extended unemployment benefits in many states have been unextended. And yet we're still seeing many workers decide to stay at home. The next reason, retirements. Baby boomers are trading in their desk chairs for beach chairs. Our labor force is getting older. Over the last 2 decades, the average age of the worker has gone up 3 years. And population growth, immigration, all haven't worked fast enough to counterbalance that trend. So we're left with fewer workers in the workforce. So in some ways, this was a trend that's been going on for a long time, but COVID has supercharged it. In the third quarter of 2021, more than half of the population age 55 and older are retired. And unlike the last recession where we saw housing prices plummet, now we're seeing housing prices boom alongside the stock market. And old people are statistically more likely to own these stocks and houses that are now worth more money. So more money means more retirement.